to preserve it. We are NTD.
Welcome to NTD Newsroom. I'm Don Ma. The Treasury Department sanctioning entities related to Iran's shadow fleet and the latest efforts by the Trump administration to apply pressure on the Iranian regime. Vice President J.D. Vance speaks at the nation's largest pro-life rally in Washington, touting the administration's pro-family policies and announcing more restrictions for organizations promoting abortion. A massive winter storm is expected to bring snow and ice to more than half the country over the weekend, with more than 230 million people under weather alerts. ICE and Border Patrol respond to media narratives claiming they arrested a 5-year-old child. What they have to say about the situation of immigration enforcement operations in Minnesota. TikTok has finalized a deal to avoid a ban in the U.S. after years of scrutiny over national security concerns. President Trump expressed his appreciation in a post toward Chinese regime leader Xi Jinping for greenlighting the deal. Rare American history is given new life at Christie's Americana Week. Artwork and other items up for auction to honor America's 250th anniversary.
This is NTD Newsroom, live from our global headquarters in New York City.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us today. A massive winter storm is expected to bring snow, ice, and extreme cold to more than half the country this weekend, and residents are bracing for impact. More than 230 million people are under Weather National Service alerts that now blanket every state east of the Rockies except Florida. Here are the details.
People in 46 states are under weather advisories, watches, or warnings for this potentially historic winter storm.
31 years working for NOAA, there's only a handful of times that I can remember watches and warnings stretching 2,000 miles.
The storm's footprint will stretch from the plains across the south and into the northeast. In addition to the extreme and record-breaking cold, dangerous ice and heavy snow are major causes of concern.
This is going to be a mixed bag of precipitation, of sleet, freezing rain, and ice, all which will impact travel especially. Parts
of Tennessee were under an ice storm warning Thursday. The ice set to hit southern states, expected to cause treacherous road conditions and extended power outages. Some states, including North and South Carolina, have already declared states of emergency.
Some locations could see winter weather like they haven't seen in years.
In Texas, where the governor has made a disaster declaration, officials say they're confident the deep freeze won't wreak havoc on their power grid, but warn residents about the potential for slick roads.
Roads will be dangerous, so staying off the roads is always the safest option.
Record-breaking cold with dangerous wind chills as low as -60 in some spots expected this weekend.
New York Governor Kathy Hochul declared a state of emergency this morning over the coming storm. Hochul said it would allow the state to work closely with local governments and deploy state resources.
I'm here to say this is a very dangerous combination of heavy snow and extreme cold temperatures. And the risks are so intense that as I'm standing here right now, I'm declaring a state of emergency throughout the entire state of New York. So right now, here's the bad news. Temperatures across New York are plummeting. By tomorrow night, we'll be experiencing some of the most dangerous cold we've seen in years. And if you're heading up to the North Country or live in that beautiful part of our state, you better bundle up. You'll be experiencing -40 to -50 degree wind chills. 12 to 18 inches of snow possible across Long Island, New York City, Hudson Valley, Capital Region, Southern Tier, Mohawk Valley, and Central New York. The rest of the state could see upwards of a foot of snow. Now, up to a foot of snow downstate, it could be paralyzing in a dense area like New York City. They have not seen snow totals like this in years.
New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani said it would be the biggest snowfall the city's seen in years. He cautioned people to stay home and off the roads.
Tomorrow, as the storm nears, we're going to see thousands of DSNY collection trucks and agency partners transformed into the nation's largest snow fighting operation. I want to encourage New Yorkers to do their parts to stay safe this weekend. That is why we are issuing a hazardous travel advisory for Sunday and for Monday. So if you need groceries, if you need a new winter coat, if you need anything, frankly, that you are thinking about for this weekend, today is the day to make that trip.
Washington, D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser also declared a state of emergency today over the incoming storm. She called it the largest snowfall the area has seen in a long time. Forecasters expect at least 9 inches of snow. In Philadelphia, Mayor Cheryl Parker declared a snow emergency starting at 9 a.m. Saturday. It will remain in effect until road conditions improve. And U.S. airlines are issuing widespread travel waivers as the powerful winter storm closes in. AccuWeather says the storm's size and intensity could overwhelm airport operations, leading to thousands of flight cancellations and delays nationwide. Several airlines have adjusted schedules and expanded waivers. Delta Airlines has already canceled flights in parts of the South and Central U.S. United Airlines and American Airlines have issued flexible rebooking options, while Spirit Airlines is urging travelers to check flight status before heading to the airport. Now, Iran tensions continue to simmer. President Trump said yesterday that the Navy has sent a large fleet of ships toward Iran.
We're watching Iran. We're watching Iran. You know, we have a lot of ships going that direction, just in case. We have a big flotilla going in that direction, and we'll see what happens. It's a big force. We have a big force going toward Iran. I'd rather not see anything happen, but we're watching them very closely.
Trump did not provide details on the deployment. Ship spotters and satellite imagery indicate the Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group entered the Malacca Strait earlier this week, heading into the Indian Ocean. The Islamic regime continues to be engulfed in its largest wave of protests since the 1979 revolution. London-based news channel Iran International says at least 12,000 protesters have been killed so far. Trump has repeatedly threatened to intervene with the U.S. military if Tehran continues killing protesters in large waves. Oil prices rebounded today after Trump's renewed threats against Iran. Brent crude futures for March rose over 1%. NTD's Daniel Monahan has takeaways from the president's remarks aboard Air Force One.
President Trump touched on a wide range of issues while speaking with reporters in flight. On Greenland, the president said there is no time limit on the in-progress agreement, calling it a deal that is meant to last indefinitely.
It's forever. That was discussed. We can do anything we want. We can do military. We can do anything we want. And it's being negotiated, and let's see what happens. I think it'll be good.
Trump says NATO is going to be involved with securing the Arctic island, and he spoke about the Golden Dome defense system he plans to build in Greenland.
U.S. won't have any expense because we're not going to have expense. Other than building the Golden Dome, we're going to build the Golden Dome, and we'll have participation in that also. The cost of the Golden Dome, we'll have participation in that also, meaning with the expense of it.
Trump also discussed his proposal to cap credit card interest rates at 10%, saying the policy is aimed at protecting everyday Americans.
The credit card companies are getting 28% interest. So a guy goes out, they don't even know it. You know, these are people, regular people. They don't know that they're paying 28%. And then it's a little bit overdue and they end up having to file for bankruptcy. I'm not going to let that happen. So it's a 1 year, 10% cap on credit cards. We have to get that approved by Congress, too.
President Trump discussed Venezuela and said he spoke with opposition leader Maria Corina Machado earlier.
Very good relationship, just to say. She's a good woman, a very nice woman. She's been through a lot. And at the same time, I'll tell you, they're doing a very good job in Venezuela. So it's interesting. I get along with both sides. I get along with everybody but the media. You know, the fake news and I don't get along, but I get along with everybody.
The president says oil companies will start drilling there soon.
We have the biggest companies in the world. We have them. And they're going to be going in. They're all negotiating right now. And we're representing the nation. And the nation is very thrilled by that because we're really good at this. And they'll be taking in more money than they ever have, but we'll be taking in a lot of money, too. That's going to do 2 things. It's going to make the United States a lot of money. And it's going to make the United States a lot of money. And it's going to make the United States a lot of money. And it's going to make the United States a lot of money. And it's going to make the United States a lot of money. And it's going to make the United States a lot of money. And it's going to make the United States a lot of money. And it's going to make the United States a lot of money. And it's going to make the United States a lot of money. And it's going to make the United States a lot of money. And it's going to make the United States a lot of money. And it's going to make the United States a lot of money. And it's going to make the United States a lot of money. And it's going to make the United States a lot of money. And it's going to make the United States a lot of money. And it's going to make the United States a lot of money. And it's going to make the United States a lot of money. And it's going to make the United States a lot of money. And it's going to make the United States a lot of money. And it's going to make the United States a lot of money. And it's going to make And it's also, I mean, it's going to make Venezuela a lot of money, but it's also going to bring down oil prices even further.
Trump also discussed China, saying he's going to visit Communist Party leader Xi Jinping in April. Trump says Xi will come to the U.S. toward the end of the year. Daniel Monahan, NTD News.
An invitation for Canada's Prime Minister to join President Trump's Board of Peace has been withdrawn. President Trump made the announcement in a Truth Social post yesterday. In the post, he doesn't say why he's withdrawing the invitation to Prime Minister Carney. It was earlier on Thursday in Davos, Switzerland, that Trump unveiled the Board of Peace, which he chairs. The group was originally conceived to include a small group of world leaders who would oversee the reconstruction of the Gaza Strip. The purpose of the board has since expanded to look into other worldwide conflicts. And today marks the last day of this year's World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. Joining us to give us his thoughts is Alex Newman, award-winning international journalist, author, and president of Liberty Sentinel Media. Alex, good afternoon. It's always great to have you here. So there has been some back and forth between the U.S. and Canada. The Canadian Prime Minister saying the rules-based order is fading, referencing the U.S. And I just reported then Trump sent an open letter to Carney that his invitation to join the Board of Peace has been rescinded. How are you looking at this situation? How are you reading it?
Well, Mark Carney is really the quintessential globalist. And right before the World Economic Forum started this week in Davos, he made some very cryptic comments about a partnership with the Chinese Communist Party, the most murderous regime that's ever existed in history, saying that this partnership, this new partnership, positions them well, sets them up well for the new world order. And so I would imagine Trump and his advisors are looking at those kinds of comments and saying, what? I think he has really crossed a line here. He's attacking a historic ally, the United States of America, in a way that I don't think we've ever seen before. This goes far beyond even what Justin Trudeau was saying. And if you listen to what he had to say at the World Economic Forum, the old world order is dead. The United States is no longer the leader. He's advocating for a massive, a radical transformation in geopolitics that would usher in what he and many other globalists in the past have referred to as a multipolar world order, where the United States would be sidelined as the hegemonic power, and where forces like the CCP, forces like the Kremlin, maybe even forces like Iran would rise to the fore and have a major seat at the table. And I think that would be a disaster, not just for Canadians, not just for Americans, but for the whole world.
So why do you think Canada is doing this? And why do you think it's also moving closer to China in its relationship, which Commerce Secretary Lutnick says undermines Canada's negotiating position with the United States?
Well, I think the reason Carney is doing this is because he is a committed globalist in the truest sense of the term. This is a man who is on the board of the World Economic Forum. This is a man who has led multiple central banks, including the Bank of England and the Bank of Canada. He is really the epitome of the elite or elitist establishment, and he doesn't like what the Trump administration is doing. He doesn't like the idea of America first. He doesn't like the United States government withdrawing from dozens of UN organizations. He doesn't like the President of the United States and the American people rebuking the kind of world order that they are trying to build, which, by the way, has much more in common with the CCP system, with the totalitarian system, than it does with historic Canada, historic United States, historic West, what we used to call the free world or Christendom. So I think Carney's really out of line, but I'm almost grateful for this because he's really dropped the mask. And now the whole world, not just Canada, the whole world can now see what will happen if these kinds of people, if these institutions get their way.
Okay, I want to get your thoughts on the broader World Economic Forum other than the Canada situation. Anything else from the WEF that stood out to you? Any takeaways?
Well, we're watching a major tension here, and the dispute between Carney and Trump is kind of representative of that. But we now have a growing contingent of populist forces that do reject the traditional international rules-based order that we heard so much about from more liberal Republicans and, of course, the Democrats for so long. A UN-centric, globalized world with a kind of a global economy, a global political system, et cetera. And it's not just Trump, right? If you listen to, for example, what Javier Milei said, we have to go back to traditional Western values, to Greek philosophy, to Roman law, to Christian biblical values. These are major, powerful world leaders. You have multiple leaders in Europe now who are moving in this direction. So the World Economic Forum traditionally has been kind of a partner of the United Nations. Klaus Schwab used to brag that they helped build up the CCP over 40 years. But that dominance and that worldview that reigned supreme at the World Economic Forum is now being challenged by some of the most powerful people and institutions in the world. And we're seeing these challenges right at the heart of their own little celebration in Davos. So this is really a sea change that we're watching. It remains to be seen how it's all going to end up. But certainly the conflict has now come out into the open, and I think the people of the world will have a very unique opportunity to see what they think suits their values better and move in that direction.
And we've been watching Davos closely here as well, and it looks like Davos moved away from heavy advocacy for climate policy, putting more of an emphasis on AI. And we know, of course, China is a huge proponent of renewable energy, despite being, ranked the worst polluter. So based on what we saw at Davos, would you say that the Chinese Communist Party is losing some influence there?
That's very interesting. I just had an article in the Epoch Times about this situation. I was down in Brazil covering the climate summit just a couple months ago for the New American Magazine. And the piece that I wrote for the Epoch Times was CCP wins the COP30 climate summit. And so the whole climate movement, as Trump said back in 2012, has really been a major benefit to the CCP. They've used this to undermine the West, undermine their competitors, and build up their own economy, ship our productive capacity over there. But now, as you said, with the emergence of AI, a lot of these climate movement profiteers, people like Bill Gates, are realizing, well, hey, we actually need energy to run our data centers and our AI. So I think temporarily with Trump in the White House, he calls this the biggest con job in the history of humanity. They're temporarily letting the emphasis on climate change go, but they will be back with this. They're working very hard. When I was in Brazil, one of the big themes was we've got to reach the next generation. We're going to go into the schools around the world. UNESCO said every country, every school is going to be teaching the climate stuff to the next generation. So I don't think the climate issue is gone, but there's no question that it has taken a backseat. It's on the back burner, at least for the duration of the Trump administration, maybe longer as this AI starts gobbling up more and more energy.
So, Alex, you said earlier that the tensions between Canada and the U.S. is sort of representative to a certain degree of the atmosphere there. What is your assessment of the U.S.'s standing then and the world's perception of the U.S. following President Trump's speech and his actions?
Well, despite what a lot of these globalists would like to believe, the United States remains the single most powerful economy, by far the most powerful military power in the world. And so as much as they don't like it, the United States still remains the powerhouse. Now, I think there's a lot of forces that would like to see that change, a lot of forces that would like to see the CCP kind of step into that role. I think very much including a lot of the globalists like Mark Carney that we've talked about. And this is not a new trend. Since 2017, they've been painting Xi Jinping as kind of the guardian of the world order. It's very troubling to me. But I think this conflict is only going to get worse. It's only going to become more pronounced. And I think the implications for humanity could not be bigger. We're at a crossroads. Are we going to move in the direction of kind of traditional American values as enshrined in our Declaration of Independence, as enshrined in our Constitution, as inherited from previous generations, the United Kingdom and the Magna Carta and Western values, the biblical tradition? Or are we going to move in the direction of kind of a CCP-led world order where humans have no freedoms, humans have no rights, where the government is supreme over everything? That is the choice that humanity is facing now. And for a long time, nobody wanted to talk about it out in the open. That issue is now in the open. It's not going away. And I think the next few years will tell us more about what direction we're going to go in.
Okay, Alex, it's so good to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
The Treasury Department is sanctioning entities related to Iran's shadow fleet. The Trump administration says this is in response to the Islamic regime's killing of protesters. In a statement today, the Treasury Department said the latest sanctions target 8 entities and 9 vessels. The department said Iran used these entities to ship hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Iranian oil and natural gas, and the regime used the funds to finance its brutal repression of Iranian citizens. The Trump administration said the sanctions will further restrict Iran's ability to export fossil fuel products through obscure and fraudulent means. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said, quote, Treasury will continue to track the tens of millions of dollars that the regime has stolen and is desperately attempting to wire to banks outside of Iran. ICE and Border Patrol respond to media narratives claiming they arrested a 5-year-old child. What they have to say about the situation of immigration enforcement operations in Minnesota, and the FBI arrests former Olympic snowboarder Ryan Wedding. Director Kash Patel explaining the former athlete's drug trafficking organization. More news after this break. Don't go away.
Shenyun Creations, the streaming platform from Shenyun, featuring world-class dance, past programs, and all original music. Masterclasses, behind the scenes, comedy, and more. Explore shenyuncreations.com.
Hi, my name is Brady. When I was born, my parents thought everything was okay. My mom and dad were so excited to take me home.
I still get goosebumps telling this story. Several days in, his skin started to become very cold and clammy. We noticed that he had become blue around his mouth, and something was just very off.
We packed up as fast as we could. Brady stopped breathing twice on the way to the pediatrician. And that was one of the #1 things that just haunts me to this day.
I was born with a congenital heart defect called aortic coarctation. If my parents waited just one more hour to drive me to the hospital, I would not be here today. But thanks to research funded by the American Heart Association, I had heart surgery that saved my life. But not every kid is as lucky as me, which is why we need your help. Just call the number on the screen or go to helpheart.org. For only $19 a month, just 63 cents a day, you can help. Get people trained in CPR. Get more hospitals certified in high-quality cardiovascular care. And help fund the next medical breakthroughs to help save kids like me.
When you donate to the American Heart Association, you're helping save lives like my son. And now, my son is happy and healthy, thanks to the support of people like you.
When you call with your $19 a month, you'll get this really cool t-shirt as a thank you. Many children die from congenital heart defects. I can't wait to grow up to become a heart surgeon and fix babies' hearts, but until then, I'll keep helping the American Heart Association. So please join me. Just call the number on your screen or go to helpheart.org to become a monthly donor and help save lives.
Many of my clients ask me, how can I afford to buy my next home, but also make sure my current home sells? That's why who you work with matters. With HomeLight, we're able to help clients buy and sell at the same time with all of the certainty and none of the stress. It's the most game-changing solution in real estate today. Together with HomeLight, we've helped clients win the home of their dreams every time.
U.S. Border Patrol and ICE are pushing back against media narratives claiming that they arrested a 5-year-old child in Minnesota and separated him from his father. Here's Border Patrol Commander-at-Large Greg Bovino speaking earlier today.
The DSP is the double standard phenomena. We see this quite often, the DSP. American citizens that are arrested daily here in Minneapolis. Are they separated from their children and families? Absolutely, as they should be. Criminals face consequences. Criminals face consequences. But yet that double standard does not seem to apply to illegal aliens. Why is that?
ICE official Marcos Charles said officers were trying to arrest Adrian Alexander Conejo Arias, an illegal immigrant, on Tuesday. They saw him fleeing and abandoning his 5-year-old son, Liam Conejo Ramos, in his car. Charles said officers stayed with the child and cared for him while trying to reunite him with his family. But people at his residence refused to take him in. The father later requested to have his son by his side, and ICE has taken both of them to a family residential center pending immigration proceedings. ICE also commented on the arrests of those who disrupted a church service in Minnesota this past Sunday.
Federal law protects the freedom of religion and the right to worship without interference. What these agitators did was not a peaceful protest. They rioted at church services. They screamed and harassed children. They denied Minnesotans the ability to worship peacefully.
ICE and Border Patrol said they are committed to continuing their operations despite the recent media attacks. They called on politicians, media outlets, and activists to stop the rhetoric against federal law enforcement. And Senator Amy Klobuchar has taken the next step toward a run for Minnesota governor. The senator filed paperwork yesterday to create a fundraising committee, weeks after Governor Tim Walz said he wouldn't seek re-election. Klobuchar told CNN earlier this month she was seriously considering a run for the state's top office. In 2020, the senator ran for Democratic presidential nominee before withdrawing and backing Joe Biden. And the FBI has arrested former Canadian Olympic snowboarder Ryan Wedding. He's accused of running an international drug trafficking organization as a member of the Sinaloa cartel.
He went from an Olympic snowboarder to the largest narco trafficker in modern times. He is a modern-day El Chapo. He is a modern-day Pablo Escobar. And he thought he could evade justice. But these brave men and women put together a prosecution package, put together an investigative package, put together an operation strategy, and here we are today, bringing him to justice for trafficking hundreds of kilos of cocaine and also for the murder of innocent civilians. This individual and his organization and the Sinaloa cartel poured narcotics into the streets of North America and killed too many of our youth and corrupted too many of our citizens. And that ends today.
FBI Director Kash Patel said Wedding was captured last night in Mexico City with the help of Mexican authorities. The Bureau said Wedding's crime ring routinely shipped hundreds of kilograms of cocaine into California via Mexico and distributed the drug throughout the U.S. and Canada. The FBI placed him on its 10 most wanted list last year. His arrest marks the 6th individual on that list to be captured in the past year. Wedding was also charged in 2024 with attempted murder and other charges related to his alleged crime ring. According to court documents, the former athlete began his drug trafficking operation in 2008. He spent 2 years in jail before being let out in 2011. Authorities believe Wedding was hiding in Mexico for over a decade with the help of the Sinaloa cartel. Wedding is now in U.S. custody and will make his first court appearance on Monday. Speaking of court appearances, Luigi Mangione, the man accused of gunning down a healthcare insurance executive outside a hotel in Manhattan, is in federal court today. This comes as a judge considers whether key pieces of evidence found in Mangione's backpack should be included in the death penalty murder case. Judge Margaret Garnett hears the testimony today from an Altoona, Pennsylvania police official. This testimony will focus on how the department secures a person's property after an arrest. Mangione is scheduled to be in court again on January 30th for a status conference. Garnett has said jury selection in this case could begin as early as September. House lawmakers avert a partial government shutdown. Some Democrats voted with Republicans to fund the DHS without reforms to ICE, despite pushback from their party's leadership and the progressive left. NTD's Melina Weisskopf has the details.
The yeas are 220 and the nays are 207. The bill is passed without objection. A motion to reconsider.
Lawmakers racing the clock once again to avoid a partial government shutdown. On Thursday, the House overwhelmingly approved a package of spending bills to fund education, defense, labor, health, transportation, and housing.
Republicans will have finally replaced the last of any Biden-era spending levels with Trump-era spending levels and policies. We've spent less, we've saved more taxpayer dollars, we've codified efforts to remove waste and fraud and abuse.
The Speaker has fought to return the chamber to regular order in allocating tax dollars, instead of forcing members to vote on a massive package all at once without time for review.
This is the most significant progress towards restoring regular order in this institution in many years, and everybody here knows that.
While a separate vote to fund the DHS barely passed due to Democrat pushback over ramped-up ICE operations.
ICE is out of control.
House Democrat leaders led a majority of Democrats to reject funding for the DHS.
ICE should be abolished, and something should be reconstituted so we have immigration enforcement.
President Trump on Thursday defended his immigration enforcement efforts, predicting that Senate Democrats may again force another partial government shutdown.
The shutdown cost us a lot, and I think they'll probably do it again. That's my feeling. We'll see what happens. People coming in from the Congo, prisons in the Congo, prisons in Venezuela, prisons from all over the world. Let them come into our country. And that, we've done an incredible job. We closed up the southern border.
Now the Senate will need to approve the funding bills before the January 30th deadline. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer would not say whether he'd push for Senate Democrats to reject DHS funding when the bills come up for a vote next week. Reporting from Washington, D.C., Melina Weisskopf, NTD News.
Ukraine's President Zelensky says territory will be the top agenda at U.S. brokered peace talks in Abu Dhabi, following what he called positive discussions with President Trump. More news after this break.
In times of uncertainty, technology for humanity matters more than ever. Ganjing World utilizes technologies to promote kindness, respect, and trust among people. Subscribe to GJW Plus. Enjoy over 10,000 movies and shows. Ganjing Kids, the #1 safe platform, value-based learning and fun for kids. Be part of technology for humanity. Subscribe now.
This land, our America, built on hard work, determination, and grit. Sometimes the days run long, but hope, it never runs out, even when the food does, for America's veterans, working parents, even kids. Because in every corner of every town, even yours, millions of hard-working neighbors are facing a hunger crisis, many for the very first time. In this land of plenty, affording food shouldn't require second jobs and third shifts or choosing between your groceries and bills. Today, you can help change that. Call or go online to helpfeedingamerica.org and give $19 a month, less than 63 cents a day, to help every neighbor get the food they urgently need. Because taking care of each other is what makes America strong. We're Feeding America, not just a name, but an action. Working with over 200 local food banks like the ones in your community, and demand is soaring.
You go to the grocery store, you spend $100, and $100 is a new $20 bill.
Even with 2 full-time jobs, it's hard to make ends meet.
These are tough times, but when we stand together, we become the very best of a strong America. Please call or go online to helpfeedingamerica.org. Just $19 a month can feed a family today. And your first gift can double an impact. Plus, we'll send you this free canvas bag as a reminder of the hope you're delivering.
When it comes down to it, it's about taking care of your family first and the loved ones that you need to provide for.
Because you're not just giving food, you're fueling resilience for people across the nation. You're feeding America. Call or go online today to helpfeedingamerica.org, and your gift can double an impact.
Shop Mathis Home and save during the annual clearance event for huge discounts on all the latest styles. Here's a great value. This sofa from Ashley is a bestseller. It's just $4.99 and comes with 2 accent pillows. Upgrade to Motion with this sofa that has plush pillow top arms and 2 recliners built in. Clearance priced at just $7.99. They're in stock now with fast free delivery. For the best value, come to the annual clearance event at your furniture superstore, Mathis Home.
Microsoft Teams and other services are coming back online after a big outage. Outage tracking website downdetector.com reported Microsoft's productivity software suite was unavailable to thousands of users yesterday. Microsoft 365 provided an update on X saying it was rebalancing traffic across all affected infrastructure. The company said it was investigating a potential issue affecting its services in North America. By the evening, Microsoft said its infrastructure had returned to a healthy state. Down Detector noted nearly 4,000 incidents as of 6 p.m. Eastern, down from more than 15,800 reports earlier in the day. TikTok once faced a precarious future in the U.S., but now it's increasingly clear that it's not going anywhere. The video sharing platform has now established a majority American-owned joint venture to run its U.S. business. The deal revealed just one day before President Trump's deadline. Here's more.
TikTok's Chinese parent company ByteDance says it has finalized a move to avoid a ban in the U.S. The deal will create a new majority American-owned joint venture aimed at protecting U.S. user data. It's a major step after years of scrutiny by President Donald Trump, who in 2020 unsuccessfully tried to ban the app over national security concerns. In a post on Thursday, Trump said he is, quote, so happy to have helped in saving TikTok. The TikTok USDS joint venture will be responsible for securing U.S. data and apps and TikTok's recommendation algorithm. Under the agreement, American and global investors will own 80.1% of the venture, while ByteDance keeps the rest. Tech giant Oracle private equity group Silver Lake and Abu Dhabi-based MGX will serve as managing investors, each holding 15%. A White House official says both the U.S. and Chinese governments have approved the deal. The venture will retain and secure TikTok's algorithm using only U.S. data, which will be secured on Oracle's cloud system.
Now over to Taiwan. U.S. Senator Ruben Gallego from Arizona is visiting the island. Taiwan's TSMC is the world's largest contract chipmaker. It's investing over $160 billion in the Phoenix, Arizona area to build the factories. President Lai Ching-te said he looks forward to more semiconductor investment in Arizona and collaboration with the U.S.
TSMC's investment in Arizona has been a notable product of the cooperation between Taiwanese and U.S. industry. We look forward to even more semiconductor manufacturing, research, and development facilities springing up in the greater Phoenix area. This will continue to strengthen Taiwan-U.S. relations.
The amount of investment that is happening in Arizona right now from Taiwanese firms, especially TSMC, is impressive. We Arizonans now travel the world and we brag about this relationship, this investment. We are the envy of other states and we want to continue to see that growth.
The senator is the first U.S. lawmaker or official that President Lai has met in person since the U.S. trade deal was reached. Meanwhile, Ukraine's President Zelensky said today that territory will be the key topic at trilateral talks. Officials from Russia, Ukraine, and the U.S. are meeting in Abu Dhabi today and tomorrow.
The question of Donbass is key. It will be discussed, and how the three sides see this in Abu Dhabi. The key agreement on security guarantees is in place. Now I am waiting for President Trump to set the date and location. It is up to him. We are ready to sign, which is so important to us. I would like to emphasize once again that this is a historic document.
The talks will begin this evening local time. Zelensky also discussed the use of Moscow's frozen assets to fund reconstruction on Russian territory. He dismissed the idea of using the money to rebuild what he called their parts as nonsense. Russia previously floated the idea of using frozen assets to pay for the recovery of Russian-occupied territory inside Ukraine. Here's more on the negotiations to end the war in Ukraine.
The U.S. is set to hold talks with Ukraine and Russia today in Abu Dhabi to discuss the future of the war. It comes after top-level talks Thursday in Switzerland and Russia. Aboard Air Force One yesterday, President Trump told reporters that both Russia's President Putin and Ukraine's President Zelensky seem open to making a deal.
You know, what's happened here is there were times when Putin didn't want to make a deal, times when Zelensky didn't want to make a deal, and it was like opposite times. Now I think they both want to make a deal, but we'll find out.
Earlier in the day, Trump met Zelensky on the sidelines of the World Economic Forum in Switzerland. Trump said the meeting was very good, and Zelensky called it productive and meaningful. In Moscow the same day, U.S. negotiators Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, and Josh Grunbaum sat down with President Putin. That meeting came after Special Envoy Witkoff said negotiations to end the war had come down to one last issue. The Kremlin told reporters the talks had been useful.
The talks lasted approximately 4 hours and were exceptionally substantive, constructive, and I would say extremely frank and trusting.
But Russia warned lasting peace would not be possible unless territorial issues were resolved.
Most importantly, during these talks between our president and the Americans, it was once again confirmed that without resolving the territorial issue according to the formula agreed upon in Anchorage, there is no hope of achieving a long-term settlement.
Russia has demanded Kyiv withdraw its troops from the eastern regions of Ukraine. The Kremlin said until this is achieved, Russia will continue to pursue its goals on the battlefield. Russia's army has managed to capture about 20% of Ukraine since hostilities began in 2014 and its full-scale invasion of 2022. But the battlefield gains have been costly. The Russian economy is feeling the consequences of the war and international sanctions. Ukraine is short of money as well. Despite significantly boosting its own arms manufacturing, it still relies on weaponry from Western allies. Focus now shifts to today's meeting in Abu Dhabi.
And what do everyday Americans make of President Trump's Board of Peace? And has the United Nations lived up to its original mission? NTD Sam Wong was out on the National Mall in D.C. to hear from the people.
Do you think the United Nations has been living up to its original mission?
Yes, it has. But it does steer off course. Take all these hostile countries and they go to the United Nations and they just trash the U.S. at that point.
The United Nations don't have nothing. I mean, they've been trying to defeat Russia for how long?
I think it's been living on the edge. I just, they needed to get behind something and accomplish something.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of belief in the United Nations and them accomplishing a heck of a lot. I don't think that they should have a single country should be able to veto what the rest of the countries want to do that could be a positive for the world in general.
President Trump just announced the Board of Peace. What do you think of this idea? Do you think it's a good idea?
Well, certainly it's a good idea if you can resolve any of those conflicts. I'm not sure what he's setting up is going to be a structure to reach that end. I think that's more of a publicity move than anything else.
It's probably a good thing. The more countries you can get on board to do anything like that, you're just better off.
Peace is always a good idea. As long as America's on top. He creates peace everywhere else, might as well.
Well, you're not going to see China in that peace plan. It's a group of civilized nations that wants to try to do something. They're still going to go through United Nations from what I hear. But they're gonna guide, hopefully, the United Nations on the right path and not the radical path.
Overall, we have been kept out of war. President Trump has kept us out of war with his friendship and agreements with other NATO countries.
We've been a lot more peaceful under his presidency. I know he has a lot of connections in the Middle East, and he's been trying to make things more peaceful over there. I think President Trump is doing a great job with international relations, and I'm very excited for what the future holds with that.
The National March for Life is ongoing in Washington, D.C. Thousands of pro-life Americans from across the country have gathered in our nation's capital to call for an end to abortion. NTD's Chris Bobb is live from the march. Chris, what was said at the rally that preceded this march, and what can you tell us about the attendance?
So I'm out here at the National Mall at the 53rd Annual National March for Life. We're at the tail end of the crowd here. A couple hours earlier, there was a massive rally inside the National Mall with keynote speaker J.D. Vance, as well as the president of the organization, and members of Congress like Mike Johnson, Chris Smith, and many religious leaders and other speakers and singers and performers. And the key that I heard here from everyone in the crowd was all about legislation. They want to see more done in favor of life. The people who attend this event are looking for an end to abortion, and I got a lot of feedback and responses from those who I interviewed earlier. Let's take a listen and hear what their perspective is.
We have to continue to speak for the truth and help guide hearts to that truth. I've always said, certainly the legislation's important, but it will mainly happen the truth moving hearts closer to Jesus Christ, the Son of God, truth incarnate. It's a national issue, and certainly Texas has done some good work. There's still more to do. Young people are realizing that some of the things that have happened in my lifetime are just not of God, not of the truth, and they're tired of the corruption. They're tired of the false messages. They're looking for truth.
HHS just yesterday said that they're stopping the funding for aborted baby fetal cells. So this is great progress. We still have so much work to do, and there's a lot of work to do in the states. There are some pro-life wins. We've also had some losses in the state constitutions. However, that doesn't stop us, and we got to continue to keep on winning.
There were massive cheers from the audience, from people who, they asked a question on stage, who has traveled to get here more than 10 hours, and the whole place erupted. So people really from across the country who strongly believe in the end to abortion or pro-life have assembled here and are headed right now along this road that you see to my side in the direction of the Supreme Court.
So, Chris, we saw again this year Vice President J.D. Vance speaking at the rally before the march. What did he say this time?
Yeah, J.D. Vance was preceded a little bit by a video message from President Donald Trump. And the keynote of Trump was that this is a battle that must be won, meaning the battle for life. And every child is a gift from God. That's how he ended his address. Now, J.D. Vance highlighted some key things that the administration has done to in favor of the pro-life agenda that a lot of the attendees here cheered. Number one, he was contrasting kind of the paganism of the world to a culture of life. You know, he was talking about that it's our responsibility to be stewards of life. He wants an end to scientific research for using aborted fetal cells. That's something that the administration has worked on and has given as a win to the pro-life movement. They're investigating Planned Parenthood affiliates for their receipt of COVID relief funds. Remember those loans from around COVID time. And really a key thing here has been the Mexico City policy, which is going to, we just heard about it yesterday, restrict the amount of money, approximately $30 billion, that NGOs who support abortion outside the United States will receive. And that's an administration policy that just got announced. And we have some footage of the Vice President talking about that. Let's take a listen.
And today, our administration is proud to announce a historic expansion of the Mexico City policy. We're going to start blocking every international GO that performs or promotes abortion abroad from receiving $1 of U.S. money.
And not everyone was, obviously everyone was cheering for that, but not everyone was super excited with how the administration has helped the pro-life cause. There were some people who are looking for more, and I talked to one of them. Let's take a listen to what he had to say and what his desire is for the president. What are your thoughts on the administration right now?
On this, it's been an incredible disappointment. So yeah, it's very simple. President Trump can take this out of politics and put it back before the Supreme Court where it belongs. They did not finish the job in Dobbs because they weren't asked to rule on that narrow question. Are the preborn included under persons in the 14th Amendment and the 5th Amendment? And if they have to rule on that question, there's only one way to answer it.
Yeah, so many are looking for a total federal ban on abortion. There were some people while J.D. Vance was speaking who were chanting to ban the contraceptive pill. And, you know, J.D. Vance, as he ended the speech, he acknowledged those voices who were shouting at him while he was speaking. Relatively few people, but here's what he had to say in response.
Now, I must address an elephant in the room, and I've heard the guy over here talking about it. A fear that some of you have that not enough progress has been made, that not enough has happened in the political arena, that we're not going fast enough, that our politics have failed to answer the clarion call to life that this march represents, and that all of us, we have made tremendous strides over the last year. And we're going to continue to make strides over the next 3 years to come. But I'm a realist. I know that there is still much road ahead to travel together. Take heart in how far we've come, but don't lose sight of why we marched.
And we're going to continue to cover the policies coming out of D.C. regarding the abortion issue and the right to life. Back to you.
Okay, looking forward to it, Chris. Thank you very much. NTD's 7th International Figure Painting Competition revealed its award winners last night, with 6 participants receiving medals for their outstanding technique. More after this.
A performance that truly matters for each and every one of us. This is what you've been waiting for. See it at least once in your lifetime. Shen Yun. Get tickets now at shenyun.com.
All throughout your home, appliances and systems just wait for the worst time to break down and leave you with expensive repairs. Unless you have a plan from Choice Home Warranty.
All home appliances and systems have a breakdown clock, and when it expires, it will cost hundreds and potentially even thousands of dollars to fix or replace. That's why every homeowner should have a plan with Choice Home Warranty, like I do. For a low monthly fee, a Choice Home Warranty plan will cover your heating, air conditioning, plumbing, appliances, and more. Don't let an unexpected repair wreck your budget. With Choice Home Warranty, that covered repair is fixed or replaced for you.
Choice Home Warranty has been a great company to work with, and they've taken care of us. I would suggest anybody who lives in a home not to be in a home without them.
Avoid the ticking clock of home appliances and systems breaking down with a plan from Choice Home Warranty. Call now to get your first month free. Call in the next 10 minutes and we'll give you $120 off your first year of coverage. That's $200 in total savings.
With a nationwide network of over 25,000 technicians, I don't worry about how my next breakdown will be handled. With a click of a button, my claim is filed, and Choice Home Warranty starts the clock. They do the legwork, hiring the right technician and handling the cost of covered repairs and replacements. And check this out. For a limited time, you can get 1 month of coverage free. Did you hear me? Free. You can't beat that deal with a sledgehammer. But hurry, this offer is ticking away. Once the clock hits 0, poof, it's gone.
Don't fear the breakdown clock. Get a plan from Choice Home Warranty and get round-the-clock money-saving protection you can count on. Call in the next 10 minutes and we'll give you $120 off your first year of coverage, plus get your first month free. This offer won't last long.
Get your home protected. Call now.
Don't wait for an appliance or system to break down. Call before that happens. Call 800-983-3523. 800-983-3523.
Restaurant quality pho with no wait. In just 4 minutes, you get bold, authentic Vietnamese flavor with Pholicious. Available in beef or chicken. Crafted from real beef tallow or chicken, it's comforting and full of tradition. Just add your favorite fresh extras. Every bowl comes packed with everything you need for the ultimate pho experience and ready in minutes. Bring the bold, authentic flavors of Vietnam straight to your home. Pholicious is now available at Walmart or walmart.com.
NTD's 7th International Figure Painting Competition revealed its award winners last night. After careful consideration, the judges decided this year's gold award is vacant, a move that would motivate more artists to strive for mastery of their craft. 4 participants from the United States, Brazil, and Vietnam received silver awards, and 2 painters received bronze awards. Some other painters were rewarded for their outstanding technique and the profound humanity reflected in their works. NTD's Flora Hua was at the ceremony. Here's the story.
Painters, art lovers, family and friends all gathered at the Samagundi Club to witness the big moment, the award ceremony. I spoke with some of the award recipients, and let's hear what they had to say.
I'm so impressed by the NTD organization. I look forward to producing art that is meaningful in the ways that is promoted by the NTD, and pure goodness, kindness, and inspiration, and that's what I want to do.
This place and this particular competition has been the place where I've seen more not only realist art, but the spiritual connection. I've not seen the spiritual connection in other competitions as much as I've seen it here. and to know that many people love God, you know, that's really fulfilling to me, you know.
Verdade, muito surpresa.
Truly, I was very surprised. I didn't imagine that I would be awarded silver. It's my third time participating, so I'm really very happy. I can only be grateful, truly. It was a big surprise.
One of the Bronze Award winners, Cai Shaohang, is a Falun Gong practitioner. He hoped to raise awareness through his work, Forced Organ Harvesting, about the ongoing persecution against the faith group in China.
I hope this work will help everyone understand the persecution suffered by Falun Gong practitioners and the atrocity of forced organ harvesting.
Others also shared their messages through their works and discussed their future visions after taking part in the competition.
Oh, excited, inspired. You know, it's amazing to see so many talented artists on the same place.
For me, it's not the prize important. For me, what is important is the message I would like to convey. A message for peace and freedom. That's the most important thing.
So I guess my biggest takeaway from this entire thing is artwork should be beyond technique. All of these paintings up here, they're also beautiful and classical, but each one of them somehow touches my heart or speaks to me.
I am so honored to be part of this incredible show and part of the beautiful movement that is honoring truth and beauty and kindness, something that the world needs desperately right now.
Professor Zhang Kunlun, jury chair of the competition, said its mission is to purify people's hearts with good works, and the key to creating works of pure truth, pure kindness, and pure beauty is for the artists to cultivate their state of mind.
The oil painting competition organized by NTD is different from other competitions. Others are about ranking people as higher or lower, but ours is about learning from one another, exchanging ideas, and walking a righteous path. Because in today's society, atheism, the theory of evolution, and modern ideology have already done great harm. We aim to guide human art back onto the right path.
Reporting from New York City, Flora Hua, NTD News.
European allies have seized an oil tanker linked to Russia, putting pressure on the Putin regime's revenue to finance the war in Ukraine. More after this break.
Hi, I'm Susan Lucci. You may know me from my many years on television. I never thought about heart disease until I had my own heart event. I felt this slight pressure on my chest, just slight. I thought, oh, it's nothing, it'll go away. I didn't get it. I did not get it. But a few days later, while shopping at a boutique, that pressure returned, much stronger. It felt like an elephant pressing on my chest. I had a 90% blockage in my main artery and a 75% blockage in the adjacent artery. I was rushed into surgery where I received 2 stents in my arteries. Stents developed through research funded by the American Heart Association. Those stents saved my life. That's why I'm in front of you today, asking you to join me in supporting the American Heart Association by becoming a monthly donor. Call now or go to helpheart.org. For only $19 a month, just 63 cents a day, you can help fund the next medical breakthrough. Get the next person trained in CPR, the next hospital certified in high-quality cardiovascular care. I'm so grateful to the American Heart Association. Their research helped save my life. I can enjoy life with my children, my grandchildren, and my friends. Heart disease is America's #1 killer, and your support now can help save your life or the life of someone you love. Give $19 a month with your credit card, and we'll send you this special t-shirt that you can wear to show that you are helping save lives. Please, listen to your heart. The only reason I'm here today is because I did. So please call the number on your screen or go to helpheart.org now. Join me as a monthly donor today and help save even more lives. Thank you.
You are not hidden. There's never been a moment
You were forgotten, you are not hopeless. Though you have
On streets across America, homeless young people are cold, abused, in danger. Covenant House is helping young people with nowhere else to turn. Please call or go online now with your gift of $19 a month. You'll help provide hot meals, safe shelter, medical care, and love. We'll send you this comforting blanket as a reminder of the love you're showing a young person this holiday season.